Hey guys, thank you for watching the SlatRock channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon to get notified every time we post a new video. And if you've already done so, just make sure that it's still active. Number 12. Davari turned down becoming George W. Bush. When Stephanie McMahon personally approaches someone with a storyline, it's just common sense that they won't turn down their boss. After UPN forced WWE to drop their Davari and Muhammad Hassan characters, they devised a few different ideas for both superstars. Needless to say, the new ideas were just as questionable as the old ones. Davari discussed this in an interview, where he said that Stephanie approached him and asked him to take on the name George Bush and act patriotic while wearing the good old red, white, and blue. Davari was thankfully smart enough to turn down this ridiculous angle. He also mentioned that the vignettes around this angle were meaningless and horrible. Stephanie understood why Davari decided to turn the angle down, as he felt this would do his career no favors going forward, especially as the angle would no doubt get stale fast. There are some ideas that are better left on the drawing board, and this is one that belongs there. Davari instead became a manager for Kurt Angle, which was enough to get John Cena cheered during the feud between the two. Number 11. AJ Lee rejects being mentally ill. Before the WWE underwent a women's revolution, evolution, and every other buzzword under the sun, AJ Lee was the face of the division for several years. But she narrowly avoided a storyline that would have killed her career for sure. She was approached in 2012 with the idea of playing a mentally ill person. Lee was previously diagnosed with bipolar disorder and has gone on to write about the issue, so she wasn't interested in poking fun at the problem like this, especially with how WWE planned on the storyline unfolding. AJ discussed some details in her autobiography, including how she would hallucinate about dancing with dinosaurs and making out with leprechauns. AJ Lee wanted to have no part of it and wasn't shy about telling WWE as such. It seems management weren't too fond of her honesty, as Lee was taken off television for a few months. While Lee has claimed that WWE never gave her a reason why her character was taken off television, she does believe that her refusal to do the storyline is what caused it. It was still for the best that Lee rejected the storyline, because it would have definitely impacted her career in a negative way. That's on top of the negative PR the WWE would have gotten for taking a serious issue like bipolar disorder and turning it into such a disgraceful joke. Not that WWE has any kind of a positive history when it comes to tackling delicate subjects. Just ask Eugene. Number 10. RVD rejects turning heel and joining Paul Heyman in 2014. Rob Van Dam's last run with the WWE was underwhelming to say the least, as he got lost in the shuffle of bad booking. WWE did come up with a plan to turn this run around though, involving pairing him up with his longtime friend Paul Heyman and turning the whole effing show heel. RVD said that he rejected the offer because he didn't plan on staying with the company much longer and felt it wouldn't do him any good to go along with the story. There is some sense in that, as the fans were unlikely to turn on RVD, who has been a face for most of his time with WWE and was getting cheered even though he was being booked badly. The angle would likely have worked out well if RVD had been a heel since returning or was committed to staying around for a long time. There's no doubt RVD missed out on the chance to have an impressive run so late in his career, as he would surely have gotten quite the push being paired up with Heyman. Even so, RVD claims he was already on his way out of the company, so maybe it's for the best that he didn't do the turn. His run with Heyman couldn't have been any worse than Cesaro's run with him at least. Number 9. Krystal Marshall turns down being romantically linked to Edge. It's never good to turn down an idea from management, especially if you aren't already an established star. Krystal Marshall would learn this lesson the hard way when she rejected an idea that might have propelled her career to incredible heights. The company was running an angle with Edge, Vicky Guerrero, and Teddy Long on SmackDown at the time, and management wanted it to be revealed that Krystal was who Edge was having an affair with. This would lead to her becoming his manager, with Krystal playing a similar role to the one Lita played for Edge. Krystal chose to decline the angle as she was already in a relationship with Bobby Lashley at the time, especially because WWE wanted to do some raunchy segments with her. WWE weren't too happy with her response, and opinion on her soured even further when she requested to be moved to Raw to be closer to Lashley. Krystal would be released from WWE a few weeks later and fade into obscurity. Lashley was let go not long afterwards. She had every right to reject the storyline, of course, but turning the offer down killed her career more than accepting it ever could. Number 7. Maria being blackmailed by Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler and Maria were paired together in a romantic angle in 2009, with Maria being his manager. WWE had grander plans for Maria and were interested in giving her a bigger role. It was suggested by an unknown member of the SmackDown creative team that Ziggler would blackmail Maria, claiming that he had an intimate tape of them together. Rumors suggest that the original plans called for Ziggler to tease her about it for weeks and threatening to send the tape to her friends and family. We're not sure what the ultimate outcome of the storyline would have been, but no doubt some white knight would have appeared to defend Maria. While management did approve the storyline when it was suggested, it would never happen because Maria didn't want to get involved with it. She was uncomfortable with playing this kind of role, especially since the WWE planned to drag the angle out for weeks. If the angle were to go through, it would no doubt be one of the most raunchy angles of the past decade. Not to mention, it would have led to some incredibly cringeworthy moments of compelling television. We're still curious about why someone would pitch that idea anyway. Number 6. CM Punk vs. Triple H at WrestleMania 30. It's no secret CM Punk was upset for a long time before leaving the company. The final straw for the chick magnet was when Batista made his return and won the 2014 Royal Rumble. Punk was hoping to be a part of a title match at the WrestleMania 30 main event, but was told that this wouldn't happen, and instead he would be facing Triple H. Needless to say, Punk wasn't happy about the situation. He believed his hard work and popularity had more than earned him the main event spot. The storyline would have begun with Punk taking on Kane before Triple H would get involved. Punk was completely uninterested in working the angle, particularly because he had been waiting years for the chance to headline WrestleMania. His frustrations continued to build up, and he decided it was time to leave the company once and for all. Perhaps it was a good thing that Punk left though, as WWE were forced to change their plans and have Daniel Bryan come out on top. Whether he intended to or not, CM Punk still changed the outcome of the main event. There's no doubt he would have loved to have been in Bryan's place that year if he had the chance though. Number 5. Ric Flair being the father of Stacey's baby. If you thought what Vince Russo put on Nitro was bad, just wait until you hear some of the ideas that got rejected, such as this infamous example of what makes him so infamous. One of the few bright spots of late-era WCW was the arrival of Stacy Keibler, who played the role of Miss Hancock. The blonde-haired beauty stood out from the crowd and soon began a relationship with David Flair both on and off screen. The idea was that everything would come to a head with the pair being married, only for it to be revealed that Stacey was pregnant and David wasn't the father. Russo came up with the genius idea to make Ric Flair be revealed as the father. Talk about a shock twist. It's never been done before, bro. Rick would put the kibosh on the idea, saying the idea of sleeping with his own son's girlfriend was too much even for him. So Russo changed plans and was going to reveal that he was the father of the baby, but he was fired before anything happened and the angle was dropped without him around. It just goes to show that there are some women even Slick Rick won't style and profile on. Number 4. Mickie James gets amnesia. Mickie James could hardly be blamed for leaving the WWE after they put her in the horrible Piggy James storyline. She went to TNA and shone through her impressive work, becoming an incredible heel and multi-time Knockouts champion. James made a return to the company in 2015 in an angle that saw her being stalked by James Storm. This included the infamous moment where Mickie would be pushed in front of an oncoming train and miraculously survive. One rumor around the angle is that Mickie was supposed to get amnesia after the accident and leave her husband Magnus to be with James Storm. Mickie was not a fan of this idea, and she certainly wasn't a fan of not being paid on time by the company. She would leave TNA and seemingly retire. Of course, she would later return to WWE for an NXT match against Asuka before joining the main roster again full-time. That James would choose to return to the company that fat-shamed her should tell you something about how bad it was to work for TNA. Number 3. DDP ending Goldbergs' undefeated streak. When thinking about streaks in wrestling, two names come to mind: The Undertaker and Bill Goldberg. Goldberg was the only true superstar WCW had, and he won the fans over by crushing anyone and anything that got in his way, becoming a US and world champion. The big push would naturally be who got the first win over Goldberg and broke his impressive undefeated streak. The person in question wound up being Big Sexy Kevin Nash, a move that some fans feel was dumb to say the least. There was one more name being considered to break the streak, though. Goldberg defended his title against Diamond Dallas Page in a major match at Halloween Havoc 1998. The match had a great build, and the plan attached to the match was serious to say the least. It was originally penciled in for DDP to win the belt, break the streak, and be pushed into the stratosphere. As much as DDP would have loved to have the gold, he felt that he'd get a lot of heat for being the one to break the streak and that it could backfire on him. He decided that Goldberg should win the match instead, with the ending of the match being famously cut off as the pay-per-view feed ended, and keep the belt for a little while longer. Page was likely a better choice to end the streak, but he felt that it wasn't the right time to do it. Number 2. Kevin Owens joins the League of Nations. It is said that Triple H has fought Vince a lot when it comes to Kevin Owens. Owens was never a favorite of Vince due to his realistic style and bulky shape, but Hunter saw his skills and continued to push for him. That left Owens more comfortable turning down ideas. An example of this is when the WWE formed the heel group the League of Nations, which included Sheamus, Rusev, Wade Barrett, and Alberto Del Rio. It was originally decided that Kevin Owens would be a member of the group and represent Canada. The early word was that Kevin missed out on the introduction due to a timely illness, but it seems that Owens actually turned down the idea. He was against it and felt that it would be better to stay by himself and not join a large heel faction like that. Given the ultimate fate of the league, Owens certainly made the right call and was better off by himself compared to how things might have gone if he was in the stable. Number 1. Abyss vs. The Undertaker. Abyss has been one of the true icons of TNA, loyally serving the company as a TNA original for over a decade now. The monster gained a ton of momentum in the mid-2000s, which brought him to the attention of WWE executives who would approach him and offer him a spot in WWE. It looked like Abyss was all ready to jump ship in 2004, with TNA removing his name and picture from their website. There were a few plans in place for him to make a name for himself out of the gates, including a reported plan for him to win the Royal Rumble and eliminate The Undertaker. It would have set up a big feud between the two, and let's be honest, Abyss vs. The Undertaker writes itself. Abyss would instead re-sign with TNA at the last minute, and his appearance at Final Resolution attacking Jeff Hardy was a big surprise. Abyss has defended his decision by saying that he wanted to be loyal to TNA and is stuck with his story. Still, it's amazing to think that someone would turn down such a major feud. Well guys, that's our list. Can you think of any other superstars who turned down major storylines? If so, leave us a comment down below and let us know. Also, check out our other high-rated videos by clicking at the upper right-hand corner or down in the description field. If you did like this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more videos just like this one, hit that bell icon to get notified every time we post a new video. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+, and as always, thanks for watching.